Shamia, and we're going to recap episode 5, season 16 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta today. And baby, we know the tea had got hot last week, but baby, it's piping hot this week. So, let's go. So, this episode kicks off with Brit, Angela, and Shamia meeting up at Shamia's house. And so now that Angela and Shamia has made up, they're cool, they on the same page, and they can do meetups and do their little scenes together. So Angela and Shamia basically let Brit know, like, girl, you was doing too much. You was doing the most last night. But then they tried to say, can you cut her off? And Shamia was like, yeah, I don't like to be cut off. So that's kind of the reason Brit is giving why she got so mad. But y'all, peep this. We learned that Angela wrote this question. Whole time I'm thinking Brit wrote the question, baby. Even Shamia was like, sneaky, which I thought the same because I'm like, dang, Angela, you was stirring the pot. Even though she said that she wrote the question because Brit expressed to her how she didn't like the way Kenya treated her. So she felt like, she needed to stick up for Brit. And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of side-eye Angela a little bit. Like, But they do let her know, they do let Brit know that she took it way too far. Like, girl, you was doing the most. Brit says that she didn't get any sleep because she felt bad. She wasn't trying to let Kenya take her there. And Angela said she didn't get any sleep either, baby. Angela said the people at the bank, the management, and the staff was not here for it. And I was like, they like the bank in the hood, but baby, I was at the bank with hood activities, and they did not appreciate that, which I don't blame them. Don't bring all that to my establishment. Brit goes on to ask Angela who do she need to apologize to because she didn't, mean to cause all that chaos at the bank. So she says. And then so Shamia brings up, oh, well, did you ask Charles about what Porsha said? And Angela is like, no, I'm married to a celebrity, and with being married to a celebrity, that's what comes with it, basically. She's like, baby, my DMs is flooded with people trying to tell me stuff about this man. So whatever Porsha got to say, it don't really matter. But y'all know, we know Angela asked that man, and then she did it again on camera. She went and asked that man, what question know about you? Which I wonder if it's the tea that's going around about the his outside baby and stuff. Like, I feel like with Angela, she tells us so much and then she leaves stuff out. So we'll see. Allegedly about Charles Oakley baby, y'all. So we have Kenya, Kelli, and Porsha meeting up at Kenya's spot. So Kenya has invited Porsha and Kelli to help her judge some girls that's gonna walk in her hair show for her spot grand opening. And they come in, they're good energy, they judge the hair show, and after they finish judging, they sit down and they chat. So they are talking about what happened last week with Brit. And baby, Kenya is not here for it. She's like, she felt real disrespected, which, rightfully so. Somebody threatened you. I feel like, I don't want to say that Kenya shouldn't feel threatened, but I don't feel like Brit threatened her directly, but then again, she kind of did. Anyways, it's one of those things where you can't tell nobody how to feel. And so Porsha even says, what happened at the table was cool. We can work through that because, that's shade. Like, I feel like Brit is not quick with it. And so Brit only way to react was to say she gonna pull a pistol and basically with violence and stuff because she's not quick with it. Because when Kenya was like, you a peasant, Brit could have snapped back and have been like, baby, we sitting at the same table. Baby, peasant. But like she could have reacted, but we see how Brit reacted. So basically Ken is like, she's over it. She feel disrespected. So they're asking her, is all of the ladies invited, to the spot opening. And Ken's like, I haven't disinvited anybody. And I'm like, that was first red flag number one. Y'all, they knew Kenya had something up her sleeve, just not what it was. Because this is Kenya, baby. Kenya and her antics has been. That's why Kenya hasn't always been liked, because some of her antics is like she goes too far. And so Kelly is like, I never seen her act like that. And so Kenya kind of got a little offended when Kelly was like, she never seen Brit act like that, because she's like, well, that's who she acted like, last night, and that's who she showed me she was. And when I say in Kenya's defense, Kenya don't know Brit. So you can't tell her this is not, you never seen her act like that, when this is somebody, I don't know, I've only known her for what, a few days, since we started filming, because the way Brit acted, y'all, I really thought I was like, it had to be something that happened off camera, or something that production edited out. It had to be something. But there's Kenya and it's saying that was the only interaction they had. So I'm like, well, she don't know this lady. So she may have really fell through. Then, Ken is telling them about the gun comments. By this time, Porsha had walked out, so she didn't hear the comments. Her and Shamia was in the car. But Kelly was like, oh, I didn't hear it. And I'm like, okay. We got to side out Kelly a little bit. Like, Kelly, girl, you heard it. And I know if you trying to calm somebody down and stuff, you might not hear it at the moment. But Kelly specifically told Brit, nah, we cool. Kenny is here. Kenny is Kelly's bodyguard. Then when they got outside to Brit's husband, Mike, Brit was still going, and Kelly was telling her, here come Mike, we cool, you cool, you cool. So Kelly, don't say you in here. I understand you taking up for your homegirl, and that's cool, but baby, we can run the cameras back. Like, do y'all not knowing that y'all are recorded? So it's like you might as well just tell the truth because you on camera. Next, we see Angela meet up with her daughter Amari. Her daughter is 24, and we learned that her father was shot when she was 7 in Chicago. So they're meeting up for coffee. It sounds like Amari is wanting to open up a coffee shop. So they're having coffee and they're talking. So apparently Amari got into it with her grandmother, which is Angela's mother and Angela's sister. And they got into it over a car. I guess so. Angela bought the car. Angela bought the house that they stay in. And so I guess Amari wanted to borrow the car. And when she went to borrow the car, they didn't want to let her borrow the car. They wanted money. And it just broke out into a whole fiasco. The aunt, I guess her aunt name is Alicia, because Angela did say, Alicia will hear from her. But the aunt Alicia basically got into Amari's face and called her a demon and kind of, went in on her. And Amari was like, that's unacceptable. This is my mother's car. My mother bought this car, and her mother bought this house. Her mother is taking care of them. So we learned that Amari used to stay there with them. And so we know Angela bought the house, so she stayed there with her aunt, her grandmother. And so it's been tension, so I guess stuff got bad, so Amari ended up moving out. I kind of wondered, Angela did say, her mother helped her raise Amari. So I did wonder if, was she like always there for Amari in a sense? Like, she says Amari is her best friend, but I feel like we missing something. She goes on to kind of says that Amari has gotten married and Angela didn't know, and she's been married for 4 months. And Angela feel away, rightfully so. Your daughter go off and get married, and you know nothing about it, it's kind of like, well, damn. But the reason why I say I wonder has she's always been there for Amari, and I'm not talking financially, but I'm talking like, been there, like taking care of her day to day, or did she stay with her? Like, what age range did she start staying with her grandmother, or if she stayed with her grandmother when she was little? Because Angela says that, we're best friends. I feel the way that you didn't tell me that you went off and you got married. But Amari says, how did you find out? And she found out from the grandmother and the aunt. So it's like I wonder if she told the grandmother and the aunt that she was getting married, or if they was snooping and they found out. Because I'm like, if she told the grandmother and the aunt, but you didn't tell your mama, and your mama's saying y'all best friends, I'm like, it might be more to this relationship that's, it's some stuff that's being left out, because that don't make no sense. Like, you would tell your grandmother and your aunt, but you wouldn't tell your mama unless Angela don't like her husband or something. I don't know, child. I'm just speculating at this point, but that's just what it kind of gave. And so Amari, she's like, Angela needs to quit taking care of them. Angela don't need to finance them and help them. And, Angela is like, well, if your mama needed help, what would you do? And Amari didn't really say nothing. Because, like, I see both points, like, you taking care of them and they disrespectful. But at the end of the day, that's her mother. And if you got it and that's your mama and you've been close to your mama and stuff, even if you haven't been close to your mother, like, if you got it, it's only right you gonna want to help your mother. So, I just kind of wondered about this. I feel like something is kind of missing out this situation that they're not telling us. Uh, Angela did reveal that her mother is bipolar. And she's like, for the longest, she used bipolar as a crutch. And now she's basically self-healed. She's self-proclaimed healed. And she's basically saying, she feels good about that because that's she's not using it as a crutch anymore. But I kind of like tired out that too, because I'm like, I don't know if that's how that works. That might be why it keep being drama between your mama, your husband, your daughter, and your mama is the common denominator. It might be because she's saying she's self-proclaimed healed, but she's really not. But that's neither here nor there, baby. I can't diagnose nobody. So once we gonna get circle back to Amari being married, and so Angela expressed how she didn't, like what Amari did. Yeah, I feel like Amari is a little manipulative too. And I say this because soon as Angela brought it up, she kind of started this little fake crying and was like, it's gang up on Amari Day. Like, girl, you grown, you went and got married. Talk about it. Yeah, they got a little warm, so I had to take my jacket off. So next, Brit and Porsha meet up. And so during this meetup, Porsha is like, Brit, what's up? What happened? And so Brit is like, she feel like Kenya has been trying to come for her. Like, Kenya is different around the group. And I'm like, if y'all don't know each other, then how is she different? Because you don't know her. And so she says, that Kenya basically tried to get fresh with her when she asked her about the ring situation, what this whole thing stemmed from. And so Porsha is like, well, everybody who said they witnessed the situation said Kenya wasn't being shady. Remember, Porsha wasn't there. She was late. And so even I didn't think Kenya was being really shady. How Kenya kept, we know Kenya is extra. I didn't think Kenya was being extra this time. And so Brit was like, she was like, where is your band? Why didn't she have a band? Y'all know Brit be talking like she stopped up. And so Porsha is like, like I said, nobody felt it was shady. So Porsha, I gotta give it to Porsha. Porsha was real for this. And what Porsha said was spot on, because this is exactly what I thought. She said that Brit had preconceived notions about Kenya basically she's seen Kenya on TV. She see how Kenya interacts with the other lady, and she was on go. Like anything basically Kenya did or said, Brit was gonna take it out of context because that's the person she was looking for. But Portia was like, that's not nothing that you could go off of because you're seeing her in interactions with people that she don't like. And so, and I'm like, Portia should know because her and Kenya ain't never been cool. Like it's like we finally seeing them being cool. So it's like she know. Brit just felt like Kenya was coming for her, and she felt threatened by Kenya, basically. Brit, she admits that, the preconceived notion is kind of the reason why she felt like she felt. But I still just feel like Brit she wanted an issue. Like, I did think about y'all, cause y'all know Kelly went for Porsha. So I think maybe Brit and Kelly had a pact that, I'm gonna go for Porsha, you gonna go for Kenya. I don't know. That's speculation, but I could see that because we seen how Kelly came in, and then Kelly and Porsha, they kind of squashed it. Like Porsha, like, I'm not gonna give it to you. But Brit, she kept picking and poking and poking and poking and poking because I feel like Brit wanted a moment. Brit wanted to be Kenya's friend, and she was a fan, and she wanted to take down the big dog. We see Angela and Mr. Oakley. Angela and Charles are this is a scene with them, and basically Angela is telling Charles that she's getting ready for Kenya's event, and then she let Charles know, Portia said that she knew something about you, and Charles said, "Is she the feds?" Y'all, that was that was so funny to me. Like, is she the feds? So Angela is like, I don't know, she just asked it or whatever. And so Charles is like, is she the feds? Like, why she worried about what we got going on? She barking up the wrong tree. And he tell Angela, you should have handled that right then and there. Which Angela say she did, but she really kind of didn't. But he like, baby, you need to nip that in the bud. Like, don't be worried about what's going on over here. But Charles said, Portia better Google him twice. Because he ain't funny. He don't play them games. So then they showed Charles cooking. He liked to cook, so he and her frying some chicken. And so Angela brings up, the situation with her family. And Charles basically like, I don't want to hear about that. Like, what you telling me for? And she like, we married. Like, why wouldn't I tell you? Charles is like, baby, I ain't called my sister. So what make you think I care about your sister, your relationship with your sister and your mama? Basically, that's what he said in so many words. And so Angela is like, well, I want, I talk to my sister and stuff. She expressed that, it's kind of, she want to have that relationship. And he like, I ain't got time. I don't get in family business. Basically, like, I ain't got time for people and they shenanigans, especially when I'm taking care of them. And you know what? People might not like the way Charles speak to Angela. Oh yeah, y'all. He did tell her to go wash her hands, even though she already washed her hands. And he just old and stuck in his ways, I think. But people, they don't like the way Charles speak to Angela. And I can see some people being turned off for it, but baby, if she like it, I love it. Like, who am I to tell you that you that you and your man how he been speaking to you that way for all these years? So right. It is what it is. Now, I do hope that they could sustain this stuff that they are going to have coming to them being on this show because y'all know that these people up under a microscope now because they decided to join reality TV and we see how marriages go. So hopefully, they can stay on the same page because people are they trying to pull up all the dirt they can on Angela and Mr. Charles. Mr. Charles. So yeah, we are at the start of Kenya's event and we see Cynthia. Cynthia actually looked really good this episode. And she pulls up, maybe she got the hair on point and she looks good. Shamia also pulls up And then they are basically waiting for Kenya to pull up, so she can have her grand entrance. And so Kenya pulled up looking good as well. And they had a grand entrance. And as the ladies are taking pictures, Porsha comes up chanting, Kenya more hair care, Kenya more hair care. And so, they basically kind of speak and, give Kenya her flowers. Porsha says, we haven't always been great friends, so it's good to be here to support her. Angela pulls up, and Angela looked good as well. Miss Lawrence make his appearance to give his support to Kenya. I know if you've been a long time watcher of the show, or you just, up with media and stuff, with her and stuff, and then you probably know who Miss Lawrence is. He gives Kenya her flowers and says Kenya is the first person who taught him how to put clips on tracks. So then they pan to Brit and Kelli. They're in the Sprinter on the way to the party. They haven't arrived yet. In the Sprinter, Brit has gotten all white flowers for Kenya. And she says that, she got a card, and in the card, I guess she's expressing, how she feel and basically apologizing. So Kenya's hair show is going on, and the models look amazing. That hair ate down, baby. It was very nice. Kenya spy is really nice. I did kind of wish that she would have kind of displayed what all services that she would be offering at the spa, but for the most part, everything was beautiful. It was very nice. After the hair show, here comes Drew, baby. Drew been late for everything. I don't know what you got going on, but baby, Drew been late. But her and her sister came. Drew bought Kenya flowers. Porsha and Shamia is talking to Cynthia. Portia's like, I'm happy to see you. And then so Cynthia's like, baby, I leave. And next thing I know, I turn my back, all hell break loose. So Shamia expressed, about to sit down with her and Angela and Britt. And so Cynthia's like, hold on, you and Angela made up? And she like, yeah. So she asked Portia, did her and Drew makeup? And she was like, oh, no, you ain't missed it. She was like, oh, well, y'all ain't made up yet. And Portia's like, nah, I'm pretty much hot. Basically, like, it ain't supposed to be no resolution. And child, we all know how I feel about that. So they came back to Brit and Kelli in the Sprinter. Brit expressed that she has lost her aunt, which is her dad's sister. And, I do have sympathy for that. When anybody loses a loved one, that's not easy. And so she's like, that's brought me back to, a place for when I buried my dad. So it took her into a dark place, is basically what she's saying. And, I feel for her, like, I send my condolences, but I do kind of wonder, like, okay, is she gonna use that as the reason why she just acted a fool? Like, she gonna say, oh, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, so that's why I couldn't control myself. Inquiring minds do wonder. So, y'all, this is where I side eye Angela, because Angela's talked to Kenya at the spa, and Kenya, she's expressed that Angela was the only one reached out to her and checked on her that night, and she basically really appreciated it. And so Angela's like, oh, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. But I'm like, Angela, you kind of the reason all this got started. I mean, don't get me wrong. Brit is, in fact, the reason. But you wrote the question. So I'm like, I don't know, Angela. Like, I like Angela, but I'm like, it's a little side eye there. So basically, Cynthia is asking Portia and Shamia what happened, and they're explaining, what happened. So Portia is like, it got heated, but Britt brought up a gun. And so Cynthia was like, wait, a gun? And she was like, oh, and that ain't never happened. And she was like, exactly. We didn't see a gun, but she brought up a gun. And so Shamia says that, well, she can apologize, but if Kenya is not ready to receive it, then she really can't be mad. And I agree, like, you can apologize, but if a person not ready to receive it, I mean, there's nothing you really can do about it. And so Kelli is letting Britt know that, you know, she met up with Kenya and Porsha, and that she feel like if she go in there and she basically extend that olive branch, that they will be good. They haven't, Kelly and Brit still haven't arrived to the party at this time. The other ladies are like, they don't think Brit is coming. Porsha says Brit is not coming because she felt like she felt really uncomfortable. Angela says she don't know if they're coming. So basically, everybody's playing the waiting game at this point to see if Brit arrives. Brit and Kelly finally arrives to the party, and baby, Kenya is back there throwing. She see it, and she's back there throwing them shots, baby. I was like, Kenya was baby. She was getting liquored up. So for her moment, because they showed her back there just drinking. And so Brit get there, and you know the ladies are like, you know, they didn't think she was gonna make it. They're happy she's there, that she's came. You know, they see she brought flowers. They like, if Kenya didn't want you here, baby, you would know it. Like they would have, security would have stopped you at the door, or she would have disinvited you. You know, Porsha and Shamia, they know from personal experience. Like, I mean, even Cynthia, they all know Kenya look cray too. And so they like, baby, if she didn't want you here, then she would have let you know. Portia's like, I didn't expect to see you here, but I'm happy you here. So then Drew goes over to Porsha, y'all. And here we go with this Dennis, Porsha, and Drew stuff that I am highly tired of, might I add. Because, baby, we all know this is a storyline. This is a storyline for the show. And like I said before, I'm tired of it being drawn out. Like, let it go. Drew and Porsha, let it go. So, Drew is still trying to talk to Porsha. Porsha really not trying to hear nothing Drew's saying. And she's like, Drew is like, I don't want your hot dog. I'm going through a divorce. Baby, I don't want Dennis. Porsha, she's telling Porsha, you know, like, you're going through the divorce. Maybe we should unpack that. And Porsha walked off like, baby, I ain't got time to go back and forth with you. Which I'm kind of glad she walked off, because I am tired. Like, if I know I'm tired, I know y'all tired too. Like, the whole Drew, Porsha, and Dennis of it all. Like, baby, we don't care. Y'all have made the album. It is out. And I know this is previously filmed, but I feel like Porsha just needed a storyline because Simon was taking her through it and letting her do what she needed to do. And that's it. That's all. Baby, we are tired of hearing about Porsha, Drew, and Dennis. So Brit, you know, she tries to give the flowers to Kenya and basically try to apologize to her. And Kenya ain't got she don't see Brit, baby. She didn't pay Brit not any attention, strictly ignored her. And Brit is like, you know, she see what it is. So she basically like, you know what? Okay. Well, she tried. She's like, I tried, but I'm going to leave. I'm going to go. And so Brit, she leaves. I mean, Rich, you see she don't want you there. She's ignoring you. So yeah, leave. Like, I ain't got time. I'm going to leave. So Brit left. And baby, this is what Kenya had to say. Y'all listen.
Okay, baby, I'm about to leave. I need to get everybody's attention, please. It was so good seeing you guys. I need everybody's attention, please. I want to tell you guys, I'm so happy that you guys came. This has been a labor of love for me. I have built this salon for my daughter, and I'm really proud of where I am. And I get people trying to bring me down for no reason. And I'm actually really sick of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just wanted to apologize. I know that was rude, you know, but I'm glad I did my part. I wanted to come in peace. You did. I extended the olive branch, and you know, she wants to ignore. That's fine. You did. Yeah, but I hope she reads my card. It was.
Brit leaves, and Kelly, you know, she go follow Brit out to make sure she's cool. And Brit is like, I did my part. I tried to come in peace. You know, basically, she's not ready to accept that. Okay, cool. And so Kelly goes back in, and baby, Kenya is going off. I'm going to play a little snippet of what Kenya is saying.
For a moment, and she came for me. Surprises, surprises. And this person who just came here with these fake flowers, somebody take these and just get it on out of here. Give them.
Baby, she didn't call Brit flowers fake. And basically, she gonna tell them to give them to the homeless child. Y'all keep listening.
Somebody homeless outside because it's fake, and I don't want fake women around me. Sir. At least let me keep the card for. The flowers, Kenya, like what the flowers do to you? You got this flower wall in here. At least just put the flowers at the front door, baby. No, don't keep the card. Don't keep the card. Burn that. I don't want the card. Okay. Stay out of it. But then it escalated because I wasn't paying her dust. Because I'm that bitch. Been that bitch. Still that bitch. I'm gonna pay you dust.
So Ken is going on a rant about how she's paying Brit dust because she's that bitch, been that bitch, still that bitch. Y'all heard her. Kelly tried to, she know Brit and wrote nice words in the card. So she like, let me just keep the card. I guess she was going to try to talk to Kenya and give her the card. Baby, Kenya told Kelly to stay out of it. She don't need the card. Like, child, Kenya is really on one. And I'm like, Kenya, the whole time I'm watching this, y'all, I was like, Kenya, where are we going with this? What are you doing? So, y'all, as I play the little clips in this part, we're going to talk about it. So, this is what else she said.
Talked about having a gun. Because she keeps it on her at all times. She did. So if this woman was saying all this stuff, like, you don't know the I am. I'm like, no, I don't know who you are. So I did a little research, and I found out who this bitch is. What is that? So who is this hoe? Who is this hoe? Brit Eady is her name.
Yeah.
Same girl. Oh, I'm not doing this. We see the nose jobs, the lip.
And Kelly, as a friend, she immediately walks out like, I'm not doing this. As she should. Like, if that's your home girl, if you don't want to get into it with her, then just go on and leave. So, y'all, keep listening because we fit to unpack this.
It's the fillers, all that. She need to bite that. Ooh, and you're crazy. Ooh, that's number one. If this is just the first one, where is this going? My good private investigators found some more evidence.
They're not private investigators. She said she was going to get a background check.
She was a trap hoe video hoe. Okay?
A track hoe video hoe, y'all. She said she was a video vixen in high school.
My girl, like, what is happening? We are going down a rabbit hole. I've been in some videos where I was a leading lady. I was making stats for an appearance. Everybody been a hoe in their day. She been a hoe too. Come on now. I mean, here you are with this beautiful salon. We're here to celebrate you. Why the are we discussing Brit at your grand opening? Bitch, we get the out of here, hoe. Oh, is it that time? I'm not gonna allow.
So yeah, like, I agree with Kelly only. Like I said, leave. And and Ken is still going out.
Then they kept sending me information. That's some nasty words.
And it says, due to the graphic nature of these photographs, Bravo has chosen not to exhibit them. And so, y'all, we gonna unpack this because at the end of the day, we knew Brit was wrong, right? We all felt like Brit was doing the most and her behavior was out of line. And like, I'm not team Brit, I'm not team Kenya, I'm not team Twirl, I'm not none of that, baby. I'm not biased. I'm just here to review. And I'm like, we knew Brit did the most, right? She did. But did it really warrant this? Especially at your grand opening, Kenya. Like, I just don't understand the mind frame behind this. Like, I understand you like, I'm gonna get you back. And that's cool because we all throw our shade. That's what y'all do. That's cool. But to go this far was crazy. And the fact that Bravo did not show none of Kenya's spy last season like that, and you had a real issue, Kenya, with that, why would you self-sabotage yourself like this in this moment? At your spy grand opening that you said that you are $400,000 in the hole behind, that you spent Little Brooklyn's college fund, and that you want something to leave her and to give her, and you let somebody mess up your bag. Like, baby, I can't get it. Like I said, Brit's not right. I do feel like both should have been fired. I feel like Ken and Brit both should have got fired. But I have been hearing that Brit lawyered up. So Brit ain't dumb as we may thought she was. And not only that, I'm like, Kenya, you been in the game how long? Like, you should know better. Like, I can't believe Kenya chose this route. Out of all the antics that she did, baby, she went below hell, baby. Kenya went to the deepest parts of hell. And I'm like, Kenya, I can't get with that. Like, it's revenge P. Let's call it what it is. I know some of y'all don't want to call it that, but that's exactly what it is. And Kenya, you just self-sabotaged yourself, baby. Like, at the end of the day, I don't think some of y'all know that this is a job. Like, we see them on TV. This is for our entertainment. Yes. We like to watch the show. Yes. But at the end of the day, this is still a job. They are up under contract. And it's just certain stuff that you can't do. That's just like if you get into it with one of your coworkers at work right now. And then tomorrow you go into work and you have some type of something with them explicit on it, like giving fellatio, which is what Kenya posted showed her people of Brit, giving 3,000. If you go show that to your other coworkers, like say you send an email out or you get in the go to work and you call for everybody's attention and you show this, do you think you're not getting fired? Like, let's just be clear here. This is still a job. It's a great paying job, but it's a job nonetheless. And so I'm not surprised with what happened with Kenya. I do feel like Brit should have had some type of repercussions too. I do feel like when Brit threatened Kenya and Kenya felt, bravo didn't take up for her and she felt a certain type of way with the network, I do feel like they should have ceased filming and they should have made Kenya and Brit meet and called a meeting for them to hash things out if they were gonna continue filming. And then not only that, I do feel like Kenya, if you gonna play the game, baby, play the long game. Like, if you really felt threatened and you really felt a certain type of way, you could have used that to your advantage. Like, if Brit went and lawyered up, why didn't you? You could have used your inner person. You could have channeled them others, the people. You could have channeled their energy, how they women act, and acted like you felt like your life was in danger and you would not film with her. Like, you could have took it there. You could have did anything but this. Like, I feel like Kenya, you played yourself, sis. And I do feel like you housewife, like you belong on the show, but you played yourself. And I can't for the life of me understand why would you do this? Even if you was gonna do this, why would you do it at your event? Like, how does that make sense? Like, I don't understand how you thought this out. You thought this out. You did your little investigation or wherever you got your pics from. Even though people are saying that you got your pics from Ming Lee. I don't know how true that is. That's allegedly. But you did your little investigation. You got your pics. And then you went as far to get the pics blown up and it still didn't click in your head. Like, Kenya, girl. Like, you was wrong, girl. You can't call a spade a spade. You wrong. And you was wrong. You took it too far. Like, Brit did the most, and Brit was going to hell, but Kenya, you went below hell. And I get it. You can't tell nobody how to feel and how to be mad and how not to be mad. But it's just some stuff you gotta know is gonna have consequences behind it. Serious consequences at that. And y'all know what? I am glad to see though that none of the ladies took Kenya's side. And I'm glad that they didn't. Because when you're wrong, you're wrong. And I know a lot of people don't like for people to hold them accountable, but she needed to be held accountable. And when Shamia told her, like, Kenya, that's too far, she's like, no, it ain't too far. She threatened my life. And she's like, she wanted to take food out my daughter's mouth. Kenya, you literally just took the food from your daughter, baby. Like, you took the food out your daughter's mouth with your antics. It's like, I understand you mad and you want to get her back, but sometimes you got to think before you act. And I don't want to bring age into this. I really don't. But Kenya, baby, you are way too old for these antics. Like, and you are way too old to not know what type of consequences would come behind this. And like Portia said, like you threw your event away just for this moment to embarrass Brit. And the crazy thing about it is, y'all, Brit wasn't even there. So it's like you did all this to embarrass Brit, and Brit has left. So she's not even here for you to embarrass. Like, you embarrassed her, yeah, but she's not even here to for you to see that look and that look and stuff on her face. Like, girl. And then it's another thing that I have to say. Kenya's saying she felt threatened, right? But you invited her, you didn't disinvite her to the event. You let her come to the event, and you had these pictures and stuff blown up for her, and you was gonna show them at your event. So how did you feel threatened, baby? Like, and that's the thing that I don't think a lot of people is seeing. Like, Team Twirl is mad, and everybody is free Kenya, free Kenya, free Kenya. Do I feel like Kenya may can have another chance? Yes. I mean, we all deserve second chances. But I feel like, Kenya, you did this to yourself. Like, and she's mad at Cynthia, but I felt like Cynthia was very real with her. And she let her know, like, I'm getting to know Brit, but I know you, and this is beneath you. Like, why would you do this? And I don't care what nobody say. People say, yeah, Kenya should have got her back. Kenya should have got her back. In that moment when Cynthia said something, Kenya knew she went too far. And I think Kenya was a little embarrassed at that point, because it's like a light bulb went off in her head. It's all over her face. Of course, she's going to try to save face, but I think she know, like, deep down she went too far. And it's like, Kenya, girl, was it worth it, honestly and truthfully? Because you wanted to show Brit who you was and what you was on, and you got outsmarted by a new girl. Brit is still there, still filming, still getting the bag. If Brit lawyered up and, took her lawyer with Bravo and stuff, she probably got a bigger bag. Like, ain't no telling. It's just, I feel like, Kenya, you went out sad. Like, you really did. I just gotta be real. And I feel like you went out sad. Like, you was better than that. And I can't, um, I can't indulge in no flaw shit. Like, that's flaw. Like, it's one thing like I said, we go back and forth, but you do stuff like that. That's too much. And I think even if Kenya would have stopped at the second poster board that she had, she would have been okay. But to show her doing what she do, giving, you know what, it's like, you doing too much. Like, we get it. And so, to all y'all Kenya fans, like I said, I don't hate Kenya. Like, I haven't always been a fan of Kenya, but it has been good seeing Kenya's growth. I have been liking her for the last couple seasons and stuff. And I don't want to say I dislike these people, because I don't know these people for real not to like them. But the stuff that she has displayed over the years, I have not always like Kenya like that. And so, like, I was like, okay, Kenya is growing, and then you do this, Kenya. Like, girl. And I understand you've been with the network for a little bit, for a little minute, and you may not feel protected. I get all that. But I felt like you went about it in the wrong way. Like, when she threatened you, you should have played your role. You should have played your cards. And baby, you didn't play your cards right. And it's like, you you did this to yourself. So, y'all, let's talk about it in the comments, baby. This episode was pretty decent to me, and I'm ready to see what the ladies talk about next week. We shall see. So this is our last time seeing Kenya, I believe. So yeah, Kenya girl, it's been good. Like, I wish we could have seen more of you, but it is what it is. We'll see how everything pan out. So y'all, like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.